cement and concrete. It is about care and compassion. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
At the outset, I would like to thank you, Madam, for allowing me to put forth the YSR Congress Party views on the appropriation bill. Madam, before coming to the appropriation, I would like to raise two important issues concerning my state of Andhra Pradesh in this House. The first point, Madam, is that through you, I would urge the Union Finance Minister to take the steps to halt the disinvestment of Vizag Steel Plant. I would like to bring to your kind attention that the Vizag Steel Plant was set up after a decade-long public agitation in which 32 people had laid down their lives. The decade-long public agitation, Vishaka Ukku Andrula Hakku, had resulted in the 17 April 1970 declaration of that the then Prime Minister of India to establish a steel plant at Visakhapatnam. Madam, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited, the corporate entity of Visakhapatnam Steel Plant, is a Navaratna company under the Ministry of Steel, Government of India, is the largest public sector industrial unit in the state, creating employment opportunities for the close to around 20,000 people directly and many other indirect employment opportunities in the city of Visakhapatnam. It is India's first shore-based integrated steel plant and the product of long steel products catering to the requirements of construction, infrastructure, manufacturing and automobile sectors. I would like to draw the House attention towards the fact that the plant had good performance between 2002 to 2015, earning profits with the positive net worth. The plant has turnover around in 2002 after being reported to BIFR as a sick company. The company has around 19,700 acres of land currently, and valuation of these lands alone could exceed 1 lakh crore rupees due to the location of the plant in the urban area. RINL currently had a capacity of 7.3 million tons and has taken up the plant modernization and capacity expansion recently, which made the plant to borrow loans from banks to take up the expansion. Owing to unfavorable steel cycle globally, the company was making a losses since 2014-15 and was finding to difficulty to serve the debt. On the major structural issue that also lead to the high cost of production in the absence of captive mine, thereby affecting the profitability. Madam, we can surely say that the plant can again become profitable venture if we receive some support from the Government of India. I would like to urge the Honorable Finance Minister that instead of taking the disinvestment route, kindly handhold the Andhra Pradesh and support some measures like allotting captive iron ore mines to bring down and the input cost and swapping high cost debt to the low cost debt and converting debt into the equity through the equity conversion, and the measures could end the burden of the debt, serving and improving the financial sustainability to the plant. The second major issue, especially in my constituency of Araku, is the relief and rehabilitation of people in the 4 mandal of Rampachodavaram constituency as a result of Polavaram irrigation project. In Chintur and Etapaka, for the R&R, as on a date, a total of rupees 255.85 crores was spent. During the period of 2014 and 2019, no amount was spent towards R&R. During 2019 and 2023, 4 years, rupees 252.84 crores was spent. During the last 4 years, 255 times more expenditures was made towards the R&R. During 2014 and 2019, no PDFs were shifted. However, Madam, people who have displaced are still in receive their compensation. I urge the central government as well as the state government of Andhra Pradesh to ensure this timely disbursement of compensation package as well as providing assurance alternative areas for the rehabilitation, especially for my tribal community. And the tribal people have already sacrificed a lot. I once again urge both the central as well as the state government for the provision of spending compensation as the earliest of the project affected families. Madam, Pradhan Mantri Kishan Mandan Yojana offers contributory secured policy, however, assured pension amount of 3,000 rupees, which has so far for the past 5 years. With the annual inflation average, I would urge the government to increase this amount to at least 7,000 rupees. I hope Honorable Finance Minister take all these into an account of these suggestions and incorporate them. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairperson, sir. I'm here to speak for the first batch of supplementary demand for grants on behalf of the TDP. Although the budget seeked is 87,762 crores, the actual cash outflow of 44,000 crores is less than 1% of the overall budget. By any count, I would say that that's good planning. Leading an organization myself, I've often found that in the middle of the year, we deviate more than 1%. So I'd like to acknowledge and appreciate that. Some points spoken by the opposition in terms of the growth, on inflation, on the manufacturing sector. I think there seems to be rhetoric, a lot more than a call for action, because on one count we say that inflation shouldn't grow, but on the other count we're saying that the repo rate also shouldn't be cut down. I would request that the consideration of the government in cutting the repo rate to kickstart the manufacturing and increase its growth, which would overall lead to the growth of the Indian economy, is much needed, and I would definitely ask for that. In this supplementary demand for grants, I'd like to speak about some specific points, in particular for the steel ministry. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Finance Minister, the Prime Minister, for allocating 1650 crores of fund to revive the RINL steel plant. I'm very happy to state that from a verge of almost being shut down with only one furnace running, now there's 2 furnaces running at more than 100% rated capacity over the last month and a half or 2. And with the continued support of the government, I'm sure that all 3 furnaces will be running and we'll be able to take care of the salaries of all of the staff members. I'd like to acknowledge this. The second thing that I'd like to bring up is on the footwear industry. I have a peculiar problem, Chairperson. So I have a foot condition which requires certain kind of footwear. And I was searching for it in India, but I couldn't find it. I had to go to Germany, and a friend of mine got a cast made for me, and I got that footwear. That's what I'm wearing right now. But then when I went to the Standing Committee on Commerce, I realized that there is a Footwear Design and Development Institute in the Commerce Ministry. With the support of Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal ji, I went and visited the center, and I was very happy to see the kind of research that is happening over there. Alas, most of India doesn't even know about the research that is happening. So I request the Finance Minister to consider this footwear industry and the Footwear Design Institute to really proliferate its activities to the wider nation, because the footwear industry is not very concentrated today. It's quite disorganized. And the other thing I'd request is to separate it from the leather industry, because not all footwear is leather now. Footwear, all different kinds of materials are coming into it. The next point is urban planning. We see, when we think of big cities in India, when we say Bangalore, a lot of people remember traffic. When we say Delhi, people think of pollution. And when we say Mumbai, people worry about cost of living. So the money that happens to be transferred to urban local bodies is a mere 0.5% of the GDP, but the contribution of cities to our GDP is almost 60%. So I request that if there are good cities that are planning for the future, if they can be incentivized through grants for major infrastructure development, that would help us abate these problems preemptively instead of being reactive. I think that would be a great thing for the nation. Coming to the state of Andhra, finally, I'd like to request that over the last 5 years, because of the potential malintent and delay of many critical projects like Amravati or Polavaram. The cost of these projects have increased from 25% to 55%. And we request the support of the central government in line with what has already been announced in this budget to develop our capital city of Amravati and to complete the Polavaram project by 2028. And finally, I'd like to end with a point on the state that if we want unemployment to go down, if we want the GDP to grow really quickly to achieve our goal of 2047 Viksit Bharat, as the money dedicated to the census, I would also request some money to be considered for the skill census to be done nationwide, similar to what we're speaking in the state of Andhra. If we can bridge the gap between what the industry needs and what available workforce is there, and start bridging the gap through skill development and education, I think this demographic dividend that exists will become a huge dividend for the nation and help not just state of Andhra Pradesh prosper, but all of the states of India prosper. And with these few points, I'd like to thank the chairperson for the time given to me to speak. And I would like to thank the finance minister again for the support extended to the state of Andhra Pradesh and to the steel plant in my